Okay, let me start the recording. Okay, it started. So let me share the screen. Okay. Okay. So this is our first problem. The smallest good base. Okay, that is what it's called as. So it says that for an integer n, we call k, which is greater than or equal to 2, a good base of n, if all digits of n base k are 1. And now given a string representing n, you should return the smallest good base of n in a string format. Okay, so if you are given an input or like 13, so 13 base, if 3, if you have this 3 like this, so if I actually, okay, do it something here, like, so why the output is 3 in this case, right? So if you want to, if the base is 3, okay, and then if I use that base, and then if I actually multiply using that base, I should be able to form this input 13, right? So in this case, if I have a base 3, so now I have 3 ones, right? So the one at the first location, which is the 0th location, will be 3, 3 raised to 0, correct? Then at the second location, it will be 3 raised to 1. And at the third location, it will be 3 raised to 2. So if I add all of these, like this will be 1 plus 3 and plus 9. Okay, 9 and 10, 13. So this will be 13, right? So this is what we have to find. So we'll be given an input and then we need to find the base. The base of the way we have, like the for hexadecimal or octal, so how the base we have. So in this case, the base might be anything. So we'll have to find that base. So if you look at this example, if it is 46812, in that case, the base is 8. Okay, if we have a base of 8, and then if we do this multiplication as we did for 3, we should be able to get input as 4681. Okay, the same thing for this one also. Okay, so the problem is slightly different. It's like we are given an input and we need to find the base. Okay, and the range of n, whatever that input is going to be from 3 to 10 raised to 18. And the string representing n is always valid and it won't have any leading zeros. That's the only constant. Okay, I think the problem statement is clear, right? It's a hard problem for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shashank, yeah. So you took some time, so I just started.
Yeah,
Okay,
no problem.
yeah. So this is what the problem statement is. So what do you guys think about any option? I don't think so. Will have a brute force or so in this case. So even if we have a solution, that is great, right? That is what I think.
I was going there trying to form a GMC, I mean GP series out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like
Okay. Do you want to share the screen? Okay, go ahead.
yeah, I'll try. It's opening. Okay. Or in I mean, in my mind is opening. In the meanwhile, if somebody has some other. So
No, no,
what
go ahead.
actually what it is doing? It's like how do you, let's say if you look for 8, right? Okay, let me share the screen then. So will just let me check once the connection. So there won't be any brute force here.
No, I was saying that whatever option or whatever approach we have, that should be good, right? So will there be a brute force? Yeah, if there is brute force, it's good.
No, I'm just
We
asking.
can
I'm not.
discuss. No, I don't know. I just actually went through the discussion sessions. Some of them I just found out some different solution and I like them. So I'm just using it. Because like usually what happens, you are already given a base and then you find out the numbers, right? But in this case, it's the reverse way, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to find a base, you'll have to do many, explore many combinations, right? So the worst case, what you'll do, you'll start from 2 all the way to maybe like 64, if it's a 64-bit, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So
And
if you
then
do that every time, okay, that's you too much of work, right? Too much
will
of
be there.
time complexity involved in that. I don't know whether it's factorial or exponential, but yeah, I thought so. If you have a working approach, any working approach, that should be good.
Yeah, it's already a hard problem, kind of.
Hmm.
Even if you do the brute force, then when you need to stop.
Yeah. So the way
Example,
we.
like you choose base 3, right? And you keep
Mhm.
going.
Mhm.
And when would you stop base 3 and go try with base 4?
So you will check with base 3, okay, and then see if you are able to get the input. Okay, so we are doing it the reverse way. So we actually assume that we start with a base of say like 2, and then if 2, and then you keep on multiplying for say number of digits. In this case, it's 13, right? So how do we form 13 if you are using a 2 base? So how much combinations you need? Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, he has some.
Yeah. So I was talking about this series only.
Mhm.
So what is a triple one in your base two, right? So how do we calculate, right? You take first
Mhm.
1 into 2 raised to the power 0, then this into 2 raised to the power 1, and this into 2 raised to the power 2, right?
Mhm.
And you add them. If you have to calculate this number in base 2, and you got this number, right? And again, what is your this in base 5? So this is again 31 it will be, right? So if you look at this series, this is more of a geometric progression, right? Because your ratio is increasing every time by 5, isn't it?
Why does it like index 0 is on the left side? Normally
Uh,
we do index 0 is on the right side, right?
no,
Index
we do
0, index 1, and index
your
2.
0, 1, 2,
Yeah,
right? You do 1
but this
into,
one it kind of reverse.
they have written
Actually,
like
he is just calculating it the reverse way, but yeah.
this way you are telling, right? This is the same thing as written in the other way fashion. So this is a GP, right? This is 1. After that, you are having 2. Then you are having 4. So here the ratio is what? The next number by 2. I mean, 2 is the ratio, right? So similarly here, what is the ratio? Ratio is your 5 of that GP series, right? Geometric progression, sorry, here. So we know the formula for that GP, right? If your base is R, I mean that ratio, and the starting element is 1, then the sum of n numbers will be this. How we write? What do you say?
Okay, so
For
in geometric progression, so why are we taking only in the case of base 2? Why are we taking only 1, 1, 1? Why are you not taking 1, 1, 1, 1, like 4 times 1?
in base 2.
Yeah, any like if it's a geometric progression sequence, right?
Yeah.
So now in this case, we are just taking 1, 1, 1 for this particular example. Why not 4? 4 times 1.
I think he's just for illustrating the example he's taking. It can be 4 times 1 also, right? Or in question, it has said something
Okay,
for
no problem.
yeah.
So
If
So,
all
so
digits
what's the
are-
formula? You were saying the formula, right? Formula for geometric progression, sum of geometric progression. What?
Yeah. So some for infinite, wait. For infinite, we have a upon 1 minus r, where a is your first term, right? A upon 1 minus r raised to the power n. For I mean, if this goes up to infinity, but if it goes to n, then this is like 1 minus k raised to the power m, and upon 1 minus, where k is your ratio. Ratio, I mean, k you can replace it with r, right?
Okay.
This is the series, right? Am I? You can check on wiki, I think.
Okay. No, I don't know. So I was just asking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the only that formula. Some of the n terms. So after calculating what they are doing, here n is our number n, and k is the base, and your m is the number of digits in the string representing in base k. Some in our case it's n. Okay. So this is that number what we are getting, right? I mean, this is that the sum of all the series. I mean, this will give you the sum of all this entire series, right? Which will sum up to your this given number, which is n. This is clear, right? And now what they are saying, if we look at the formula, so in our hand we have only number is given to us, right? And we have to find k here. That particular, I mean, because k is our base and we have to find the base. So k is our required, and m also we know like how much it will go. Sorry, no, we are not
Yeah, so
aware of how
here
much.
m is the number of digits, right?
Yeah,
So
we don't know.
that 111, what is there, right?
Hmm.
So why we use 3? So that m is represented over here, right? So if we say, like, if we substitute, for example, 1, if we substitute n as 13, correct?
Yeah.
And then say 1 minus k is 3, k into 3 raised to m, and divided by 1 minus k. Okay, so k will, you said k will be 3, right? So k is going to be the base in this case. So is it not going to be the negative value? Okay.
It will become negative then.
Okay, minus 2.
The denominator is negative, but
Yeah, denominator also should be negative. Okay, so minus 2, and then 1 minus 3 raised to m. Okay, then you'll have to find out.
So both will be negative, numerator and denominator, right?
Okay. Okay, no issues. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So I mean, there are two variables which we have to find, right? Only n is known to us, and k and m you have to find. Both are unknown. So since we have two variables, only one equation, we have to calculate what is some logic or some approximation we'll have to do here, right? So what is telling, since the number of digits can't be too long, we can simply try a range of possible bases. So now how will you what do you say? How will you determine the range? So the smaller the base, the longer the number representation, right? Is it, yeah, if we remember how the number looks in our hex, which is base 16, which is shorter than in decimal. Yeah, this makes sense, right? Versus the binary format. I mean, if lesser the base, the number will be more, right? Like for 16, if you 16 or 18 only you take, if you divide by 2, keep on doing so in binary format, it will be large. But if you do it in 16, it will be lesser, right? Length.
Okay.
And that means if we get number n, the longest possible string to represent it would be with base 2. Okay. I mean, if you want the largest number, so it's better to represent with base 2 because that will give you the longest one. And so how we do calculate the way to calculate the number of digits is log n base 2. Okay. I mean, number of digits in that. Okay. Here. And if this is, that means, I mean, you take what you say, n will be equal to 2 raised to the power k, right? If we take log on both the sides, it will boil down to same. log n base 2. So he's calculating the maximum range using that. I mean, using the log, right? Right. And this is, this is what till which your m can go, right? And now we already have this formula with us. So earlier we were having two unknowns and m and k, and we are having only one equation. But we got m max and n we already know. So depending on that, we can calculate the k. I mean, we'll try every possibilities from 1 to the max m what you can go and put and then calculate, right? Does that make sense? And then your k is a base, so it will always be an integer. So the idea is that we can estimate using non-exact calculation, and then we can verify if it's like a simulation one, right? You take the value from 1 to the whatever max your m can go, and we know that k will always be an integer. So you substitute and find which value satisfies this equation, right?
Okay. Okay.
Kind
Yeah.
of.
So actually, this is slightly different. I am trying to understand this. Yeah. Okay. No problem. You go ahead with the way. So you are saying that your approach is based on the way he's describing, because you are getting two equations, and from that you are trying to derive the base, right?
Yeah,
That makes
we are
sense.
having only
Okay.
one equation.
No, you said you have that the log one also, right? The below
Yeah, that this we are using to find to
m
what
max.
extent we can go. Yeah,
Yeah. So m
and we
max itself is the same, right? It's again m is the number of digits in this case, correct? Okay.
yeah.
Mhm. So that is the 111.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
And
And
we'll
then
try
you are using it to
1
calculate.
to m. We'll check what do you say. We'll try all the possible numbers from 1 to m, and
Mhm.
we know that k is always an integer, right? And based on that, we'll try to verify this equation.
Okay. So from that one, the base one, was the log of 2.
Yeah,
So you are trying to get the m's maximum value.
value. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then k you will alternate from 2 to what is the maximum in this case?
No, we have to find, right?
Mm-hmm.
We will vary, we'll have, and we already know, right? And for every what you say, for every m we'll try to find the k, and we know that k should always be an integer, right? So at whichever point k gives you an integer on whichever value, from like you'll run a for loop from 1 to m max and
Mm-hmm.
keep on substituting the value, and you already know. And if you obtain the value of k as some integer,
Mm-hmm.
then that would be your, what you say, one answer. I
Okay,
mean,
interesting. It looks like,
kind of.
yeah. So
Yeah.
no problem. So I think this is more straightforward approach, right? The way it is described here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here there are some approximation they are doing here, like k
Mm-hmm.
raised to the power m upon k. I mean, they are dividing this equation by k and
Mm-hmm.
treating this, what do you say, as almost equal to n. If k and m both become large numbers, we can ignore them, and then finally your n boils down to k raised to the power m upon k. I mean, they are ignoring this one from here and this one from here, only under the condition that k m n are very large numbers.
Okay.
It's totally based on approximation, right? Mm.
So this becomes login solution, right? And
Yeah, it will be
yeah,
login. Yeah.
and if we do like order n kind of thing, like 1 to that number, that won't work, like that won't pass. Instead of like going m max, we can go like up to that number, and every time, since now we know that if we are going to try for that base, and then we can easily calculate the number of digits in that base, basically instead of log base 2 or log base whatever that number, we are
Hmm.
going from 1 to n. So that won't that give really, right?
TLE,
I
it will
think.
give you. Yeah. That's why I
Yeah.
think they are approximating it to this for
Mm.
larger values, right? Yeah. And this we are taking two because the lesser the base, the larger the number you'll get. So all the what do you say, ranges we are trying for 1
Yeah,
to
yeah,
n.
it makes sense.
Yeah. And this is what, and this is just binomial expansion they are doing at this portion.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the
So how is that? Okay, yeah, that's very straightforward. Exactly.
Yeah, now it is,
Yeah.
but a lot of what is a entire approximation is there only. I don't know
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
it's
I think this makes sense, right? You first calculate the M max, right?
yeah
Based on what your N is. Okay. And then from your M,
backside going top to
yeah,
bottom. Yeah.
yeah. So you go to that M max. So your M in this case is the
Uh,
range M max. So which will start from 1, right? 1 to all the way to M max. Okay.
no, he's starting from opposite. I mean, top M max to 1 is going.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a very beautiful solution because you just doing it in O of, or
And
not even N, it is a O of log N, right?
no, it is going through each of them, right?
Yeah, but M max actually
Oh,
is
log
log of
to it.
N, right? Yeah.
Log of
So
N,
it's
yes.
of O log N. It's like a binary search almost.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
And he's just estimating is and checking at which point this is equal.
Mm.
Just returning the str of that. If
I have
yes,
one doubt. I
yeah.
mean, he, in the for loop, he has a k equal to n to the power 1 by m he has written, right?
That is root of mth root of n,
Yeah,
1 by
yeah.
mth root. Yeah.
Shouldn't that be m minus 1th root or something like that? I
So it's a
mean,
large.
no, no, can you go up?
Oh, sure, sure. Tell me where. This from here is decreasing. What is it?
No, no, 1 minute. Somewhat go up.
More?
Yeah, here. Once
Okay.
k and m become large numbers,
Oh, this here he is approximating that part.
yeah. So it is k to the power m by k. So it
M
should
minus
be
1 it should be.
k, yeah, m minus 1, right?
Yeah, but he's yeah, it should be. So
Why it will be M minus 1? Because
no,
1
no, power
upon,
is here kth one power, right? And so it will get subtracted when you take it to the top.
oh, you are approximating there, therefore.
Hmm.
Oh,
So he is actually taking that exact value of mth root of n and he's verifying that. I'm not sure how
It's
it will
not
work.
1 by mth root it is, right? Not the mth. Oh, oh sorry, yeah, mth root only.
Mth root of n.
Yeah, mth root.
Yeah, probably because of the integer truncation, maybe he's doing it. I don't know.
Might.
No. I think now I got it. In the if condition, he is doing n plus 1 itself.
M
Instead
plus
of,
1.
yeah. So I think this is correct only.
But
Instead of taking m minus 1 here, he's in the if condition, he's doing m plus 1. If you actually see the formula, that is k to the power n minus 1 by k minus 1.
1 minus k. Okay,
Yeah,
you are
so instead of
dividing it.
calculating the m minus 1th root, he is calculating mth root and he's checking that equation. Yeah, I think it is correct.
No.
hmm.
So
So your string length is N minus 1. Okay.
this was our formula, right? Mm,
Yeah,
then this was equal to n. So n into k minus 1. So this went this side. So n into, oh, he is taking this way, like plus, and this plus is taking minus, right? It will become k minus 1.
You actually it is 1 minus k, right? 1 minus
But
k raised to m.
from both side minus we are taking, so it will become
Yeah.
the other way around here.
Yeah,
And
you
this
had
is
written
equal
1 plus, therefore I said, yeah, okay, no problem.
yeah.
So you can reverse it and then you get the value of k.
Here is to oh, so here he is taking plus 1, right? I didn't get then why he took plus 1 here. It's only m, right? It was k to the power n only.
he is approximating the 10th. Either you take m minus 1th root and
Okay.
you do k to the power m, or you take mth root and you do k to the power m plus 1.
Oh, that here this portion is, I mean, rather than doing a -1, he's taking. But even that doesn't make any difference, right? K raised to the power m, k is or m minus 1, only a factor of k is multiplied here. For a larger number, no, it's in
No,
multiplication. You need to-
if you're checking exactly, I mean, here in the if condition, it is he's checking for exact value.
Yeah,
That matters.
it should match.
Yeah, he's saying like, and we are verifying accurately if that base would work. Correct. Yeah.
At least it's written. We are verifying correctly.
Yeah. This is really good. The description is very beautifully written, and it's such a concise implementation, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah, because if you see on the line when he says m underscore max, if you take log of n to the base 2, so you know that how much digits you want to go for if the base is 2. So that is the maximum digits you are already sitting. And that was confusing to me earlier, because when I said, okay, for the first example he's only taking 3 digits, 111. Second he's taking 5 digits. So I was trying to convert into bits and see if wherever my last bit ends, and trying to convert it to power of 2. Okay. So that way I was trying to go for it. But if you look at the way he's doing here, it's almost the same, log of n to the base 2, right? So you get the m max, and from m max, then you go and calculate your k. That makes more sense. Yeah.
method is taking.
Because or else other solutions where people doing it binary search, okay, but they were actually playing with the value of the base. But here is not playing with the value of base, right?
So how binary search are you using?
Because you start with the base at the minimum base like 2, and go all the way to the maximum base. You can say in the example they have given, right? They say it's like 10 raised to 18. That is what the range is, right? So if you have a big value like 10 raised to 18, so how you can attain a base for that? So you try to calculate that.
Mid value, and if it is greater than that, you'll try to approach.
Yeah, so the lowest will be 2, and the highest will be something like the whatever that value will be. Maybe if you take a base of a very huge number, okay, 10 raised to 18, and if you go for that, so the approximate the base what they was calculated, one of the solution is 61. So you start from 3 to 61, do a binary search between both of them, like 3 is the lower and 61 is higher, and then you try to converge. But that is still very intense implementation, right? Compared to this one.
Yeah, this is a bit more crisp, like after taking some
Yeah.
And it's logical also right now. I mean, I was also not able to follow, but why he's doing, we got it, because lowest base is 2 only, right? Below that we can't go, so that will fetch you a large number, and he's checking for every possibilities at this point.
Yeah, makes sense. That's good, yeah. And I think what are the, yeah, it is like a binary search or math. So you are also almost doing the same binary search, right? It's sort of log n solution.
This is almost.
Yeah.
This would be
It
log
comes to,
square, and right?
sorry?
This would be log square, right?
What?
The range is log n, and the square root also would be something around log n, right?
Oh, that k part you are telling. I mean,
Yeah.
But is it not the for loop? Actually, you are just going from a number to m max, correct? And m max itself is log of n.
Yeah, the for loop is log n, and the k calculation is also log n. So it would be log n into log n.
Log n base 2 and log n something log n base n. Because the
How
base,
come you say k is a log n?
I mean, for every number you are calculating the square root here, right? Which would take again log factor will come because of that. And m is like running log n times.
Well, you have just the constant values, right? N, m, both of them. Are they not?
Yeah, but for calculating any square root, you take log n time, right? Mhm. Isn't it? Or uh, even if we do square root calculation, we use a binary search, something like that, right? So
So
for every
you are saying internally, the
internally
compiler does use a binary search to calculate the square root
square,
value.
yeah.
I mean, some you will apply some algorithm to calculate the square root, right?
Hmm.
Won't be O of 1 or something, right?
I think we have done a square root calculation using binary search. We take log n the best time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is log n, log n. Okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's log n and log k, right? Then in that case.
I
Yeah, the
think
basis could be different, but
Mhm.
some
this will
Yeah, because you already have the value of m,
or we
okay,
can
which is
take
already calculated by log n, and then
1 by log q take log k base m 1 by m. No, it will be what?
okay, so
Log n m raised to minus 1 base m. So this will go this side.
root
Okay,
2.
1 by m.
Okay.
Some I
So,
think this
but
should be
still more efficient than the complete log n solution of binary search, right? Because you have a lot of stuff to take care of there, and you will have a for loop on the top of it. Yeah, yeah. And he says the performance is 97%, right?
yeah. It's beating 97. But when it was this code is written 20, okay, 2029. Okay. I thought some cases might have been revised. Yeah.
Yeah.
So any other or shall we move to next?
Let's move. Yeah.
Okay. So this is like Timo attacking. So here it's like no, pardon.
yeah. Sorry, Santosh was saying they were playing with base also, right? What was the logic over there? I mean, here in the approach you have said we were playing with exponent.
Yeah.
How were people trying to do with?
Oh yeah, the base. The way they do is you take the lowest base as 2 and the highest base as 61 or so. Okay, and then you do binary search. Okay, so you find the mid value of that. Okay, whatever the mid value you find, then you try to calculate your n from that. Okay, and then if you see if it is greater than or equal to, and then you change your right or left values. Okay, and then you keep on calculating your mid in that case,
So
and then
there
again
we
evaluate
were
it.
trying to do approximation like this: k to the power um, k to the power m equal to k to the power m minus 1 equal to n, something like that.
No, 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 no. In fact, this is very straightforward and a pretty way to do it, right? So there actually you take m, okay, you take the mid value, and then you get the value of it, you know. So you keep on multiplying that value with the mid, So as if you are doing, you are using that mid as a base, okay, and then you keep on multiplying that value till you don't increase, till the number what you get by multiplying that is greater than your input. Okay, as soon as you get it greater than the input, then you try to find the difference and see if your mid is very far ahead or behind, and then you adjust your right and left. So once, because when your mid your number keeps on, the one what you calculate keeps on growing more, okay, so you'll adjust your left, right, or else you go for your right adjustment. Same like what we do for binary search.
Depending
And
on
how do you get the upper limit?
Upper limit is an approximate, like you start with 61 because it's 10 raised to 18, then they have that some formula calculated.
So is there any reasoning behind that 61?
Uh, well, I
constraint.
don't know. Actually, I was also just looking for it, but
So
yeah.
I
So
was thinking in the same way. I saw that, but my logic was behind that. I mean, why is 61? So we know that 2 to the power 10 equal to 10 to the power 3, and we have the limit is 18. So it will become 2 to the power 60. So when you take the logarithm, it will be 60 60, right?
right. Yeah, something like that. Correct.
So not sure. I mean, that
Yeah.
reasoning is correct or
That,
not.
that was very confusing. So I'm also just
Yeah.
thinking
So
about how
I
the
was
rest would be.
because in some solution I saw that they were starting with 62.
Okay.
So 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 I was, I mean, trying to map with that why actually they are taking with 62. So I was able to map with 60, but not sure about the 62.
Yeah. Well, yes. So this problem being on the hard side, yeah, I don't know, because most of the time whenever such problem comes in, I just try to follow any approach which is very easy for me to understand. Try to understand a problem. That is what I would do. So I was just trying to follow one problem, so really didn't understand well about it. But the way Shashank mentioned, actually it makes more sense, right? He has all the formulas, right? And it's very easy to follow that also.
Yeah, the max calculating and
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that require, I mean, somebody is aware about binomial theorem or still recall that.
Yeah, because it's a maths problem, right? So you
Yeah.
have to know about that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
so this is the what do you say, Timo attack here. So it's like if it attacks at one point, for the first example, like if it attacks at one, its poison will spread up to time two, right? I mean this point. Next time it attacks at four, the poison will spread up to six, right? So in that case, what we have to get until the end of the second at the time Timo attacks and causes us to be for another 2 seconds. Okay, yeah. So it will be finally it will add up to four, right? Two here, two there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we have, okay, can you slightly scroll up the example one?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so here we have, so this input is like a timeline, right?
Yeah.
So one is the time point of one, and other is a time point of four, or maybe whatever the seconds may be. So when you are at one, your poison, because the input for that poison being persist for is 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So therefore 1 to 2 you can go with that. Then again at 4 there will be another poison attack. So that will last for 2, and they are not overlapping, and therefore 2 plus 2 will be 4 in this case, correct?
Yeah. But in
Okay.
second case, I think it overlaps. Second example.
Yeah. Second example, it overlaps, and therefore the answer is 3.
Three. Yeah.
Hmm.
So this one would be like at one you give poison will persist till three.
Mhm.
Then at 2, he's again giving, right? So this part is overlapping. So this will go up to 4. So here only one time it will be. At 2 we are giving poison, so that will go to 4, right? And 1 it was 3 only. So this part is double calculation here.
It will go to 3, right? In this case. So therefore, it is overlapping between 2 and 3. And then we still give a poison at 2, and therefore it goes to 4. So that 1 is overlapping, and therefore the value comes to 3. Yeah, that makes sense.
So this is 1, this is 1, and this is
Right.
2.
And then he says you may assume the length of a given series array won't exceed 10,000.
No constraints.
Yeah. So it's a huge array, right?
Your 10K, yeah.
Yeah. And then you'll have a number of numbers in the team who's attacking time series, and his poisoning time duration per attacking are non-negative integers which won't exceed. My God, that's a big number.
Yeah. 10
But this is the attacking
10 crores. Yeah.
timing, right? It's like about 10 million. Okay.
10 million, yeah.
Yeah. So there will be a huge. Okay. But I think the problem, even if it is described in such a way, it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
It's like the way we were actually trying to solve example 1 and 2. Okay. So there is nothing much anything other than what we discussed and how we overlapping or non-overlapping, right? Only the two conditions, if we are able to understand or implement the way we were discussing in O of n, then we are good, correct?
Fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Because no other logic is involved here, right? Apart from that.
Yeah. And also, so I think there won't be any brute force way, right? Even if it's a brute force, that's the only way we will have, correct?
Yeah, that should be only right. O of n will be only brute force here.
Yeah. Okay.
So here just what do you say? With the duration, I'm multiplying my time series, right? To get that till what extent it will go. And just going from 1 to the length of time series, and this is that overlapping part I'm subtracting from my duration. And if it is negative, then I'll pick 0. Otherwise, whatever is the max, that I'll subtract from my answer. Or we could have done using min also, plus we will do here then, in that case.
Well, I see on line 3 you are saying answer duration. Okay, I understood the duration multiplied by the time series size, correct?
Yeah, that is 2. Yeah, so it will be 4.
Okay.
So here your answer is 4 at this place.
Okay. So assuming that if in the case, if all there will be no overlaps, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, this will be your maximum answer, correct?
Final answer.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now you are going in the loop and trying to resolve on the overlaps and then subtracting that from the answer.
Yeah. And your overlap will only, for one, from here we are tackling that overlapping part, leaving the 0th index, because that will happen for any cost, right?
In what case the overlap would be negative?
Overlap would be negative in the case if if the second value is given as 0. First value is less. Second value is lesser than first value.
But that is not possible. Like they are saying in ascending order.
Yeah, it's a time, right? It will always go in the ascending. So overlap, the way he's saying, will be if your duration between the two numbers is lesser than your okay, yeah, the actually the difference between the two numbers is lesser than the duration, right? Then only there will be overlap.
Yeah.
So in this case, 1 and 2, you have a difference of only 1, but your duration is 2. So 1 is lesser than 2, and then there will be an overlap. And that is overlap actually, the difference between the duration and the difference between the two numbers,
Two numbers.
right?
Yeah.
And then you just try to find out whatever is the maximum. And because okay, maximum with 0, because if it's a negative number, you just
Take
don't
0.
want to use it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it will add up then in that case.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Either you could have used an absolute value, something like that, or yeah, this way. Yeah,
The
but you don't
maximum.
want to add. Yeah, that's true.
The consecutive time difference, if it is greater than your duration, that will fetch you -1.
Consecutive time difference, if it is greater than the duration.
Your duration, yeah, it will fetch you negative.
No, it should be lesser than the duration, right? If it is lesser than the duration, then only you have to what do you say?
Yeah,
Subtract.
that's a positive case. If the difference is lesser than duration, then you'll have a positive case, right? But when it would be negative, if the difference between the two consecutive times is greater than the duration, then it will give you a negative value, right?
In that case, you will ignore it.
I will ignore it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
zero. I mean,
You
zero.
don't want to subtract any value from the answer because that is what you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the brute force would be that way, right? Just go through and then find the plus and minus you within a if and else statement. Yeah, but both of them are actually good solutions, I would say. Yeah.
Or absolute value, what you said, that should also work, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's
That
absolute
should be fine.
value only they are doing. I mean, by putting 0 over there.
But absolute value in the case when it's not overlapping, you have to ignore it. Okay.
In that case.
So yeah, you'll have to have a if else statement. Yeah, I think other than that, are there any other way we can approach this? Because this is a one pass solution.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, people in the discussions are also saying that this problem should not be medium, it should be easy.
Yeah.
Right? I also felt it that way. And I think we have done this earlier. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be any complex, anything like that, right? It's straightforward.
But why dislikes they have given? Is it because of the now? I mean, putting it in medium category.
Maybe. Yeah, because I stopped actually looking at the likes and dislikes because they sometimes don't make sense at all. You know, because some of the ones which are disliked more are also good solutions.
Yeah, and they are more likely to be asked in interviews.
I don't know, but yeah, they are good solutions. So I don't know. People just give dislikes based on their opinion. It's okay. Yeah. So I think this is the max we can do in this problem, right?
Yeah. I think
You subtract them when it's overlapping. That's all. It is O of n solution. I don't think so. There will be any better way of doing it. Because if it is O of n, okay, if you want to do it better,
log n you let.
log n is not possible, right? We will still have to go through all the times. And then this is the only best way to do.
Yeah. Yeah, then we can switch to next.
Yeah.
It's loading. Okay. So this is a camel case matching. So we are given a query word that will match a given pattern. If we can insert the lowercase letters to the pattern word so that it equals to our query. So we are given a query and a pattern. We have to return an answer, a list of booleans where answer of I is true if and only if queries I matches your pattern. So this is queries and this is our pattern. So foobar is matching, right? I mean the first one, F and B. this won't match. FBT it will come. Then this matches, so true. This matches, so true. And this will be FFB, so it's false.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the problem statement, if someone would be asked in the interview just by the problem statement, and if the example was not given, then it would not be very clear, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because they have here.
Correct, because in the example first, it is fine. So we'll assume that F and B both are caps, okay, in a pattern usually. But if you look at an example two, it's not like that. And also what he says, I think the input query won't be okay. So you can insert only the lowercase letters, right? So if the input query has a uppercase and your pattern doesn't have an uppercase, correct. In the case, if you look for this force feedback, okay,
So it should be FFB for force feedback, but your pattern is, let's say FO.
it is FBT in that case.
Yeah.
So if there is a uppercase in your query which is not present in the pattern, then that will be a false.
I mean, in pattern you have uppercase, right? And in query you
Yeah.
don't have uppercase.
Yeah. So in this case, if you have T as an uppercase, but in your pattern instead of you had another uppercase letter, say like P, okay, so then that particular query will be false.
So
Because
it's
you can only insert only the lowercase letters. Yeah, go ahead.
So I think it's basically taking, if we have the same number of uppercase letters on each string from our queries and our pattern, pretty much.
Right. So
Yeah.
the uppercase should match that in the pattern.
Pattern, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is again more of a procedural only, right?
Yeah, but this is tricky sometimes to implement, right?
Yeah, for implement, yeah, because
Yeah.
couple of cases you'll have to check here.
Yeah.
But logic wise, it's simple only, right? You take the pattern
I
and
think so.
or you do the other. From queries, you try to get the pattern, and if it matches that, then
Yeah, so you start with all the queries, each and
Yeah.
every query,
Mhm.
and try to match with the pattern. So you'll have to do for each and every query. So you have to go through each and every query, that is for sure. So in each and every query, then again you'll have to compare with the pattern.
Yeah.
So then we have different rules for that comparison. So if it's an uppercase, all the uppercases should be present in the pattern. If it is not, then we'll have to return it false. And if they are present, then only thing what remains is the lowercase. So if the lowercase is whatever we can actually, if they are present, what they are present in the pattern, they are also present in the query, then it matches. So we are good there.
Yeah.
And they should be in the sequence also, right?
Yeah, sequence should matter. Otherwise, it will.
Yeah.
And I thought KMP, but no, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, KMP, or you mean to say the rolling hash, right?
Yeah, rolling hash. But in rolling hash, I mean, the exact continuous pattern should be present in your query, right? Which you will not find
Correct.
anywhere.
Correct. Yeah,
Yes.
that is what I was saying.
That's the problem. Otherwise, you have about.
Yeah, but when you say KMP and Rabin Karp, right? Those are the two different algorithms.
Yeah.
Both are rolling hash, or there is a difference between both of them? Because yesterday when we were discussing with Roger, then he mentioned, right? So then we said, okay, it's a Rabin Karp. So I thought both of them are different algorithms.
I think both uses base as rolling hash only.
Mhm.
I'm not able
Okay.
to recall exactly.
But they are slightly different. Okay.
Slightly different, yeah.
No problem. We'll check that. because I had a note because when you said yesterday, so I thought maybe let me check it again. No issues, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think so we can use a rolling hash over here.
No,
Do
it
you-
won't work.
Okay, yeah. So it's just a pattern matching again.
Yeah, normal pattern match.
Okay. So then how do we do?
Like in so it's not like if my understanding is correct, it's not an like simpler regex match, right?
Yeah.
Like like we have to like if we want to use the like inbuilt libraries of the regex, then in that case, like after before uppercase character, we have to add like we have to add pattern that any number of characters are allowed, lowercase characters are allowed.
To the pattern you will be adding, right? I mean, you will
Yeah.
modify the existing regex operation. I mean, expression.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then you try to. So you'll
See,
try to create a word from pattern and then check in the query, or
no. I'm saying like after fo like we will add a slash as like which will represent any number of lowercase characters.
some wildcard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, wildcard after f like before second uppercase, third uppercase, and so on.
So you can have any number of lowercase letters, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, should be possible.
Exact match, how will you do then? I mean, depending on query. I mean, slash o, fo slash o will write. So if o is occurring one more time, so you'll use it. Something like that. Or $o.
No, he's saying like after the first F, right? So
Yeah.
here in the pattern also for this example, second, I think, right? I think it's the second one. So you have FO, a small o in the pattern. Actually, that is fine. Okay, we still have to have that o in the pattern also, right? Yeah.
Pattern, yeah, that is what I'm
As
saying.
well as a query also. But
Yeah.
after the O, you can have any number of other lowercase letters before the
First
B,
capital.
which is upper cap, right? Uppercase, yeah. So then how do we handle that in the regex? Is it possible?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Java, I think it's possible. Like any number of lowercase characters. Like pattern. Like if we have a library, we have libraries for that only, right?
Yeah, should be possible. So you'll have to form the regex. Yeah, should make sense. Yeah.
Custom library you make. I mean,
But then now in this case, you cannot use that, right? I don't think so that will be allowed because it's more of a language dependent. And I think they would like to understand the way you will implement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in
Yeah.
some cases they might actually, but so you still have to do that implementation, a sort of a higher level or abstract level, the way regex is doing. The same thing you'll have to do it here.
And if you do regex is again a DP problem only, right? So they might ask you to like perform them. I mean, how do you
But it can be a string comparison problem also. You
yeah, but
just
this
form a string.
wildcard matching, regular expression, all those are DP
Ah,
based.
okay. Yeah. We had that, right? Okay.
They might take you in that direction. Rather than easy, it will make it more worse than. I mean,
Yeah, that is true. But if you know that,
then
because that string comparison
Okay,
DP
so
problem is also not difficult, right? Yeah, go ahead. Is it?
so I was thinking of a recursive approach where I mean the base case would be that the query string would be empty. So if the query string is empty, then we'll return true. Otherwise, yeah, that is one base case. There may be one more base case, and at every iteration of the recursive, we'll just do a match of the first I mean the query strings first character with the pattern strings first character. If they match, then I mean it's a very inefficient way, but we'll extract the substrings from the next index onwards from both the query string and the pattern string and pass it to the recursive call till the time your pattern string becomes empty.
Okay, so a pattern also should be empty, query also should be empty.
Query
Basically,
may
so
not
because-
be empty, actually, I'm thinking, but pattern should be empty at least, right? For us to return true.
Okay, so if your query is not empty and if you had an uppercase at the very end,
Yeah.
so then you'll
Oh,
have to handle it, right? Yeah.
right, yeah.
That's the only small trick actually, but you're almost close, right? So if
Can
you
we
find
please-
uppercase there, you'll return false or else you'll return true.
Yeah.
Can
Every
we think
recursion
like using the try?
that would be good. Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
no,
it's
actually they
inefficient.
say actually try is also there, right? Yeah.
It's
You're right.
inefficient,
Right.
just that, but I think we can write it in 5-6 lines.
You
With
mean to
recursion.
say the recursion one, Himanshu?
Right. Should be easy to write. I mean,
Oh man. Okay.
compact.
Okay. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. I never thought of that, but yeah. Because recursions actually give you more problems, right, to handle and more base case and everything. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but Praveen is saying the try way, right? So Praveen, how are you thinking of try? Either the pattern or the query?
I'm thinking that the query for each query, like whatever pattern you have. So they mentioned that you have to make an assumption for the small alphabet, right? So when you actually build replace with this is the query and this is your pattern, right?
Okay.
So and pattern will have the capital letter and both. It will have both. So if you replace with this, so this is a question mark. So you compare with this, you fill this in the try. So when you will match with the try, so you have the question mark, so you can make an assumption whatever alphabet is there. And same for this one. So your target word should be like this. And then you have the T match here and then question mark. I'm thinking out loud. I'm not sure how complicated or costly all these will be.
Okay, so you are saying when you form a, so first you will put the pattern in the try, right? And then you will just search your query string in the try, correct?
No, I'm thinking the reverse, putting the queries in the try. And then
Okay.
when you have to process your pattern. No.
Okay, so in that case, see now if you look at this foo bar test, right? So because you don't know the pattern, so if you say BAR and then question mark, so that should be present in the pattern also, right? AR. But that's not the case. So because you will have more number of lowercase letters in your query than in your pattern, right? So that might be a challenge, right? Because if you really you see you have to have a question mark after BA, not after BAR, correct? So how will you understand? Either you look at the pattern while putting in the try, but if you're looking at the pattern while putting in the try, then you don't need a try, correct?
Okay.
Because you're comparing that itself, right? So
So what if we will keep pattern in the try? I think there is a solution.
yeah, if you put a pattern in the try and the way he's putting the question marks, so wherever there are question marks, you can actually ignore all the lowercase letters which are in the query, right?
So I'm saying that if we will keep the pattern in the try like FOBAT, then search queries one by one, like in the foobar test. Let's say the second one, foobar test. You got F matches with the try, right? Try first node, root node. Then you match match 0 with with this second O, right?
Right.
Then you are getting the in the pattern you are getting the B, which is a capital letter. Then you will have a loop in the query until you don't get the next capital letter. Once your pointer is till the next point capital letter, then you match both the try node and the node in the query. If they both are having the same value, then continue the same process, otherwise return the false.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so the query will be more slightly complex, and then the search of the try will be slightly complex, and then it will use the query string. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, we have to keep track of what was the last node we visited in that particular query.
Right. Yeah,
No,
so
I'm
that
more
makes sense.
inclined towards the Himanshu solution, recursive solution.
Yeah, recursion is also one way. The try also will work in the case if you put pattern in the try, and
Or
then
else
you'll have
we
to write
can
a search.
or else we can have the substring match, like
I mean,
we will
if you have
start.
only one pattern, so do we really need to put the pattern in a try?
Yeah, but see what will happen, the way he is explaining for the search, the try search will be a complex one, right? And that will take the heavy shift load, right? Because the way he is saying, you actually keep on looping when it is a lowercase letter until you don't hit on any of the uppercase, then that is also a lot of thing what is happening in the try.
Is not
Because
that
it's
the
not only the
same?
search.
Is not that the same thing what Himanshu was explaining in recursion? Because we do have only one pattern, right?
Yeah, we have one pattern, but the pattern will be bigger one.
When you start mapping with the query, right? So you just move forward.
Yeah. So yeah, the way what he is explaining in the recursion also, that also should be fine, right? But only thing is you'll have to implement it, yeah, in the recursion way.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but we can do in the try also, but then we will have to do it this way. So that will be another approach. Or else what Shashank has, the
Yeah, let's go with this.
with the iteration one, with the more simpler one, right?
So here, I mean, just I'm going through each of the word in the queries and passing both. Is match is a function, and both word and pattern will go into this. And whatever result I get, it will be in the form of a list, and you return. So this is our main function. So it's like I and j, we are starting from beginning. So j will go to the length of word, and I will also go to the length of pattern. If the what you say, first letter of pattern and word both are matching, right? So we are increasing 1 plus in our, I mean, IU will increase in the pattern. And now we are checking if the jth word, jth letter of the word is uppercase, then we'll have to return that false, right? Because queries big letter, large case, uppercase, sorry. If it matches with pattern, then only we are increasing the I, right? And had there been like any smaller matching with this, then in that case we are returning false. Otherwise, what do you say? I'm increasing the J.
Yeah, but you are increasing for the lower case also, correct? In the
By
pattern.
J. Yeah. In
That is what
the
you will
yeah,
increase.
if it matches the lowercase also.
Lowercase also you are going to increase. Yeah.
Other than that, if anything is matching, then it will return false. And at last, what do you say? Once entire length of the pattern is done, so it will check. I mean, whether your pattern is finished or not. So if it is finished, it will return true. And this is like if any one of them is false. For like, let's say you covered the pattern, but still some of the word are I mean, after T, EST, let's say, is left. I mean, had there been a word. So for that, it's checking whether is there any upper character. If not, then it will return true.
Yeah. So in the case of Himanshu also, if he would have done the recursion way, so
Yeah.
he'll have to just check this uppercase at the very end, right, along with the pattern length.
Pattern.
Yeah. So if he does, if that case is done, then that should also be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think yeah. So that, so but I think this solution looks much better to implement, right?
Yeah.
At least I would tend to go the iterative way. Yeah. But we still have two different solutions, because if someone actually forces us to do the recursive way or the try way, we still have some way to do it, right?
Go,
But at least the recursive way will be slightly easier to follow, but the try will be slightly difficult for writing the search part, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that case.
But I think people have written that also.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I've seen somewhere, but yeah. Yeah, there is one solution, the try. Yeah, it is not that difficult. I don't know.
Regex are they are using? I'm not sure.
Yeah, regex also. Yeah. So that is what Hello was saying, right? The regex.
Yeah.
So as long as this lead code, passes that and then it gives us the acceptance, it's fine, right? So it doesn't care whether you are using library function or not, because the library function tend to be more time efficient, correct?
I don't think so. They do the code scan.
Yeah, there should be, but I don't know. But it's good to actually try always, I would say. Like if you have some time, sure. It's more interesting also.
Yeah.
See, this is the try, Python one who has written somewhere at the lower side. Yeah. So try is many places. It's not. It's a popular, right? So the insert looks easier, but if you see the check, then there actually the things are.
So in check, he's going through every character of your word, and if that is not present in your child, right? And if it is upper, then we are returning false in that case, right? Otherwise, if that character is present in your child, then you take from dictionary that, I mean, your dictionary only corresponding to that character, what is your, whatever your, the node or ASCII code you get, that will be your parent.
Yeah, actually it's going in the try.
DFS.
Yeah, try DFS. Therefore the parent comes to picture. So you'll have to go to the end.
Yeah.
And that is what your, yeah.
Whether his word is true. I mean, end might be a field here, I think. Okay. Yeah. If it is true, that means you reach till the.
Yeah. If you don't reach to the end, you actually terminate before that and you return false.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. So even if we have to insert only a single pattern in that, but actually the check part also makes sense, right? If you are used to implement try a slightly different way, and if you get used to implement tries in many ways, so this becomes also easier to implement. The insert is very straightforward, correct?
Yeah. He's checking if it's not present in child, then he's for that particular character is creating a new node. I mean,
yeah, so you'll have to create, but here you are not creating based on your index of a character, because you have uppercase also, right? So you want the exact character matching.
Oh, so no, I mean, direct, if it is A, B, something, I mean,
Yeah.
exact characters. Okay.
Yeah, some of them are actually using a different way of implementing. So when it is in uppercase, they use another variable, okay, to mark whether it is a true or false, something like that, or a question mark the way he was saying it,
Yeah, hello or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is slightly different way, but he has used yeah, sorry, Anwar, go ahead.
I'm saying that there are solutions in DP as well. Some guys have solved it in the DP.
Where is that? DP. Any tag, Yeah.
Yeah, you can search Java and you will get the DP then.
Java.
On the Java. Yeah.
Java, there are only 6. Okay.
Yeah, DP is the only one.
The last one, GP.
This one, bottom up. Oh, he's using that only. What you say? The wildcard matching way. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So if it is, if both the characters are matching, then he's taking the diagonal value. Actually, we would have written dp of ij equal to dp of I minus 1 j minus 1, and he's doing the reverse way. I plus 1 j plus 1 equal to dp.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. Huh?
Otherwise,
Well, in fact, this is more easier, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how they did think. Or he can think, right? Because it's a pattern.
Yeah, the way you said, like when Hello was saying that, can we not use the regex, right?
Yeah.
So then you said, okay, the reject implementation will be a DP way and it will go in a different direction. So here we are. Okay.
We have it, yeah.
So we have it, and this guy has implemented, and it looks very easy now.
Can someone explain it?
Yeah, let's draw the DP only. I think it will be like this. No, this is your this will be your query, right? What is your query, and this will be your pattern. What was F O B small a, it was, right? Something.
Do you want to do that, or
I'm not sure.
The way he is doing it, if you look at so you have a DP of 2D, that is correct. Okay.
Yeah.
So your query length, okay, is the rows. So the query length will be a row. So if I think this is a pattern what you have put. So pattern should be on the column, but that's fine, right? So your base and your length of both of them is by 1. It's one element more, right?
Yeah.
So we are adding 1 more to that. So therefore you can have a base case 0 0 as true, okay, and then you are actually doing going into the row 1, okay. No, actually in the column 0, on the column 0, you are actually copying all the values of dpi, okay, to dpi plus 1. So in that case, so when you are doing for that, so what you will be doing, so whatever the dp00 true, so it will be for the column 0th column, all the values will be true. So that is that will be your base case. Correct?
Yeah. So this one you are.
Yeah, that one. So when you do that, then you start again, and again it's starting from 0 0, the query and the pattern. So whenever you are starting,
it should be from 1 1, right? Because 0 0 is already set as true. Yeah.
Right. I don't know why he did that, but that's fine. So, but okay, even if it's starting from 0 0, if you look at the way he's handling the DP, he's going to I plus 1 and J plus 1. So he's not overwriting that, right? Yeah. So that's still okay. And then whenever he's comparing a query at a particular character with the pattern, if both of them match, then it's obvious that you have to take the diagonal one.
Diagonal one,
yeah. So he's taking the diagonal one. Okay. And in the case, if it is the character in the query is a lower case, so you have to increment your query part, correct? So query part is in the on your column.
So next column is taking. and same
No,
rule.
no, actually, did we not say the other way? Query is in the row, correct?
Query
So
is in row
pattern
and
is on the
pattern is
length.
in column. Yeah.
Hmm.
So he's taking the next column and current row value, right?
Hmm.
This is the current row and next column, right? J plus 1.
No, actually, see, he's, yeah. So j plus 1 will be the same column, correct? Yeah, so he's incrementing the query. Yeah, that is correct. Because I is a query. So he has written it the reverse, right? I plus 1 and j plus 1. So he, in fact, he is taking I minus 1 in our case. So he's actually taking the value from the query for the previous one.
I mean, if we'll write like dp of ij will be your dp of I minus 1 and j will be as it is.
I minus 1 and j.
J will be as it is here.
Mm-hmm.
That means one row above we are going here and this value we are copying at this point.
Yeah, because we are taking the value from this is going to be our query will be our rows, right? Okay. Yeah, so whatever is the value from the previous row, because we are ignoring the current row, correct?
Yeah.
Because it's a lower case and we can happily ignore it.
In that case, yeah.
Yeah. So if there is a true value in the upper one, you can copy that, correct? So then you have a continuation and then you go ahead, and when you come to the end, so you return, if it is true, you will return true. Okay. So you will reach to true only if you have all the lower case in the query, or if you match all the patterns. If you don't match the patterns, okay, you are not going to reach the lower
Case.
yeah, k. So it will always be false. And also, if you don't get any of the lower cases in the query, if you get a one of uppercase in the query which is not in the pattern, then also it is not going to reach, right? Then it will always be false, because by default everything is false. Yeah.
At last,
Yeah. Yeah. Only thing is we won't write it the dp I plus 1 j plus 1 way, right? We'll just write dp I j, and instead of that, yeah, the normal template what we follow. Yeah, this is cool. I think, yeah, thanks, Anwar, for making this. Yeah.
It's good, yeah, he is given the reference also to regular expression matching and wildcard.
So both of them are there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he has described. I mean, if the query at particular I matching with the pattern, then you just take the this is the correct or it's a traditional approach.
Oh, yeah. So he's writing here and not implementing it there that way, right?
Other way around here. And if it doesn't match, then definitely because the query at this was a lowercase character, so one row back we are going, and whatever value we have, we are substituting at that place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it makes sense. These two are the recurrence relation mainly. But why it did DP I plus 1? I don't know. It would have been much better.
Yeah, but the way you said, right, someone might pull you in that direction. So then, if we are there, then why not write it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Just go to try DP and then normal iteration. Yeah. Yeah, you can switch off the recording.
Okay, sure.